Package org.paros proxy.paros.db. Import java.io exception. Import java.net.server socket. Import java.sql.callable statement. Import java.sql.connection. Import java.sql.driver manager. Import java.sql.sql exception. Import org.hsqldb.server. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class database server. Public static final int default underscore server underscore port equals 9001. Change the URL to reflect your preferred DB location and name. String URL equals jdbc hsqldb hsql localhost artist. String me server props. String moral. String muser equals SA. String m password equals server m server equals null. Connection mcon equals null. Database server, string name, throws class not found exception, exception. Start, name. Private void start, string name, throws class not found exception, exception. HSQLDB only accept as path. Name equals name dot replace all, backslash 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 backslash. String server props 1 equals database point 0 equals file plus name. Int port equals default underscore server underscore port. Moral equals jdbc hsqldb hsql localhost. mserver equals new server. mserver dot set address, localhost. mserver.put property is from string, server props 1. mserver.setLogWriter, null. mserver.ctWriter, null. Class.forName, org.hsqldb.jdbc Try at most 10 times if there is a server port. 4. Int I equals 0, I10, I++. Server socket equals null. Try. Socket equals new server socket, port. Socket.close. mserver.setPort, port. Break. Catch, IO exception E. If, port 65535. Port++. mserver.start. If, mserver.getPort, equals 9001. Moral equals moral plus mserver.getPort. System.out.println, db server port plus mserver.getPort. Private void start, string name, throws class not found exception, exception. HSQLDB only accept as path. Name equals name dot replace all, backslash 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 backslash. Moral equals jdbc hsqldb file plus name. Class dot for name, org.hsqldb.jdbc driver. mcon equals driver manager dot get connection, moral, muser, m password. Void shutdown, boolean compact, throws SQL exception. Connection con equals get singleton connection. Callable statement ps compact equals mcon dot prepare call, shutdown compact. Callable statement ps compact equals null. If, compact. db is not new and useful for future. Compact it. ps compact equals con dot prepare call, shutdown compact. Else. New need to compact database. Just shutdown. ps compact equals con dot prepare call, shutdown. ps compact dot execute. mserver dot signal closial server connections. mserver dot stop. Boolean retry equals true. 4. Int I equals 0, I20 end retry, I++. Try. mserver dot check running, false. Retry equals false. Catch, runtime exception E. Try. Thread.sleep, 200. Catch, interrupted exception E1. E1.print stack trace. mserver equals null. Void shutdown, boolean compact, throws SQL exception. Connection con equals get singleton connection. Callable statement ps compact equals mcon.prepare call, shutdown compact. Callable statement ps compact equals null. If compact db is not new and useful for future. Compact it. ps compact equals con.prepare call, shutdown compact. Else new need to compact database. Just shutdown. ps compact equals con.prepare call, shutdown. ps compact.execute. mcon.close. mcon equals null. Public connection get no connection, throws SQL exception. Connection con equals null. 4, int I equals 0, I5, I++. Try. Con equals driver manager dot get connection, moral, muser, password. Return con. Catch, SQL exception e.print stack trace. If I equals 4. Throw e. System.out.println, recovering plus I plus times. Try. Thread.sleep, 500. Catch, exception e. Return con. Public connection get singleton connection, throws SQL exception. If mcon equals null. mcon equals get no connection. Return mcon. Package org.paros proxy.paros.common. Import java.io.file. Import java.io.file name filter. Import java.io.io exception. Import java.lang.reflect.modifier. Import java.net.malformator exception. Import java.net.uri. Import java.net.uri syntax exception. Import java.net.url. Import java.net.url class loader. Import java.utility enumeration. Import java.utility vector. Import java.utility jar.jar file. Import java.utility zip.zip entry. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class dynamic loader extends URL class loader. Private string directory equals. Private vector list class name equals new vector. Private string package name equals. Public dynamic loader, string directory, string package name. Super, new URL 0. This directory equals directory. Check local, package name. Search jars. Private void search jars. File dir equals new file, directory. File list file equals dir list files, new file name filter. Public boolean accept, file dir, string file name. If, file name ends with, .jar. Return true. Return false. 4, int I equals 0, I list file length, I++. If, list file I is file. Continue. Parse jar fill, list file I. Check local jar, paros.jar, or related package if any target file is found. Private void check local, string package name. If, package name equals null package name equals. Return. String folder equals package name replace, dot. URL local equals dynamic loader class get class loader, get resource, folder. If, local equals null. Return. String jar file equals null. If, local get protocol, equals, jar. Jar file equals local toString, substring, jar length. Int pos equals jar file index of. Jar file equals jar file substring, 0, pos. System.out.println, jar file. Try. Parse jar fill, new file, new URI, jar file. Catch, URI syntax exception e.print stack trace. Else. Try. Parse class dir, new file, new URI, local.toString, package name. Catch, URI syntax exception e.print stack trace. Jar file C Eclipse workspace baros _make baros.jar, comproof secure baros. File C Eclipse workspace baros and output comproof secure baros. Public vector get filter red object, class type. String class name equals. Class CLS equals null. Vector list class equals new vector. 4. Int I equals 0, I list class name dot size, I++. Class name equals, string, list class name dot get, I. Try. CLS equals load class, class name. Abstract class or interface cannot be constructed. If, modifier.is abstract, cls.get modifiers, modifier.is interface, cls.get modifiers. Continue. If, class type.is assignable from, cls. Object equals cls.new instance. List class.add, obj. Catch, throwable e.print stack trace. Return list class. Private void parse class dir, file, string package name. File list file equals file.list files, new file name filter. Public boolean accept, file, string file name. If, file name dot ends with, dot class. Return true. Return false. 4. Int I equals 0, I list file dot length, I++. File entry equals list file I. If, entry dot is file. Continue. String file name equals entry dot toString. String match equals package name dot replace, dot, file dot separator char. Int pos equals file name dot index of, match. If, pos 0. String class name equals file name dot substring, pos, dot replace all, \\/ dot class dollar, dot replace, file dot separator char, dot. List class name dot add, class name. Private void parse jar fill, file. Jar file equals null. Zip entry equals null. String class name equals. Try. Jar file equals new jar file, file. Enumeration entries equals jar file dot entries. While, entries dot has more elements. Entry equals, zip entry, entries dot next element. If, entry dot is directory, entry dot get name, dot ends with, dot class. Continue. Class name equals entry dot toString, dot replace all, \\/ dot class dollar, dot replace all, dot. List class name dot add, class name. Catch, exception e.print stack trace. Finally. If, jar file, equals null. Try. Jar file dot close. Catch, IO exception e1. Try. This dot add URL, file dot to URL. Catch, malformator exception e1. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history. Import org.jdesktop.jdic.browser.web browser. Import org.jdesktop.jdic.browser.web browser event. Import org.jdesktop.jdic.browser.web browser listener. Import org.paros proxy.paros.control.control. Public class embedded browser extends web browser implements web browser listener. Pop-up menu embedded browser menu equals null. Public embedded browser. Super. Initialize. Void set pop-up menu embedded browser, Pop-up menu embedded browser menu. This dot menu equals menu. Private void initialize. Adwebi browser listener, this. Public void download started, web browser event. System.out.println, download started. Public void download completed, web browser event. System.out.println, download completed. Public void download progress, web browser event. Public void download error, web browser event. Control.getSingleton, .getProxy, .seasonable keycap processing, false. Public void document completed, web browser event. System.out.println, doc completed. Control.getSingleton, .getProxy, .seasonable keycap processing, false. Public void title change, web browser event. Public void status text change, web browser event. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension.encoder. Import java.io. Unsupported encoding exception. Import java.net.url decoder. Import java.net.url encoder. Import java.security.message digest. Import java.security.no such algorithm exception. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class encoder. Private final static string code page equals 8859_1. Public string get Erlang code, string message. String result equals try. Result equals URL encoder.encode, message, UTF-8. Catch, unsupported encoding exception E.print stack trace. Return result. Public string get URL decode, string message. String result equals try. Result equals URL decoder.decode, message, UTF-8. Catch, unsupported encoding exception E.print stack trace. Return result. Public byte getth SHA-1, byte buff, throws no such algorithm exception. Message digest SHA equals message digest.get instance, SHA-1. SHA.update, buff. Return SHA.digest. Public byte getth SHA-5, byte buff, throws no such algorithm exception. Message digest MD5 equals message digest.get instance, MD5. MD5.update, buff. Return MD5.digest. Public string getth string, byte buff. String buffer SB equals new string buffer, 20. 4, int I equals 0, I buff.length, I++. Int digit equals, int, buff I, and 0xff. String hex digit equals integer.to hex string, digit, dot uppercase. If, hex digit.length, equals 1. SB append, 0. SB append, hex digit. Return SB tossed ring. Public byte get bytes, string buff. Byte result equals null. Try. Result equals buff.get bytes, code page. Catch, unsupported encoding exception Return result. The BASE64 decoder perform BASE64 decode even if the string is incorrect. This method is used to check if the code is correct. Public boolean is valid base64, string buff. String result equals base64.encode bytes, base64.decode, buff. If, buff.equals, result. Return true. Else. Return false. Public string get base64 encode, string message. String result equals. Result equals base64.encode bytes, get bytes, message. Return result. Public string get base64 decode, string message. String result equals. If, isValid base 64, message. Return result. Try. Result equals new string, base 64. Decode, message, code page. Catch, exception E. Return result. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension.encoder. Import java.awt.frame. Import java.awt.gridbag constraints. Import java.awt.gridbag layout. Import java.awt.grid layout. Import java.awt.event.input event. Import java.security.no such algorithm exception. Import javax.swing.jbutton. Import javax.swing.jpanel. Import javax.swing.jscrollpane. Import javax.swing.jtextArea. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension.abstract.dialog. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension.viewDelegate. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class encoder dialog extends abstract dialog. Private jpanel equals null. Private jpanel 1 equals null. Private jpanel 2 equals null. Private jscrollpane equals null. Private jscrollpane 1 equals null. Private jtextArea text encode equals null. Private jtextArea text decode equals null. Private jbutton btnmd5hash equals null. Private jbutton thnrlang code equals null. Private jbutton btn base 64 encode equals null. Private jbutton btn sha1 hash equals null. Private jbutton thnrl decode equals null. Private jbutton btn base 64 decode equals null. Private jpanel 3 equals null. Private jpanel 4 equals null. Private encoder equals null. Private viewDelegate equals null. This method initializes public encoder dialog. Super. Initialize. Public encoder dialog, frame owner, Boolean modal. Super, owner, modal. Initialize. This method initializes this. At return void. Private void initialize. This dot set title, encode hash. This dot set content pane, get jpanel. This dot set size, 415, 363. This method initializes jpanel. At return javax.swing.jpanel. Private jpanel get jpanel. If jpanel equals null. Java.awt.gridbag constraints 2 equals new gridbag constraints. Java.awt.gridbag constraints 1 equals new gridbag constraints. Jpanel equals new jpanel. Jpanel.set layout, new gridbag layout. Gridbag constraints 1.gridx equals 0. Gridbag constraints 1.grid equals 0. Gridbag constraints 1.insets equals new java.awt.insets, 2,2,2,2. Gridbag constraints 1.anchor equals java.awt.gridbag constraints.northwest. Gridbag constraints 1.fill equals java.awt.gridbag constraints.both. Gridbag constraints 1.weights equals 1.0d. Gridbag constraints 1.weighty equals 0.5d. Gridbag constraints 2.gridx equals 0. Gridbag constraints 2.grid equals 1. Gridbag constraints 2.insets equals new java.awt.insets, 2,2,2,2. Gridbag constraints 2.anchor equals java.awt.gridbag constraints.northwest. Gridbag constraints 2.fill equals java.awt.gridbag constraints.both. Grid bag constraints 2. Weights equals 1.0 d. Grid bag constraints 2. Weight equals 0.5 d. jpanel.add, get jpanel 1, grid bag constraints 1. jpanel.add, get jpanel 2, grid bag constraints 2. Return jpanel. This method initializes jpanel 1. At return javax.swing.jpanel. Private jpanel get jpanel 1. If jpanel 1 equals null. Java.awt.gridBagConstraints 7 equals new gridBag constraints. Java.awt.gridBagConstraints 3 equals new gridBag constraints. jpanel 1 equals new jpanel. jpanel1.setLayout, new gridBag layout. jpanel1.setBorder, javax.swing.borderFactory.createATitled null, enter plain text below to be encoded hashed, javax.swing.border.titledBorder.default_justification, javax.swing.border.titledBorder.default_position, new java.awt.font, dialog, java.awt.font.plain, 11, java.awt.color.black. jpanel1.setPreferredSize, new java.awt.dimension, 135,120. GridBag constraints 3. Weights equals 1.0. GridBag constraints 3. Weight equals 1.0. GridBag constraints 3. Fill equals java.awt.gridBagConstraints.both. GridBag constraints 3. Anchor equals java.awt.gridBagConstraints.northwest. GridBag constraints 3. Grid height equals 1. GridBag constraints 3. Gridx equals 0. GridBag constraints 3. Grid equals 0. GridBag constraints 3. Insets equals new java.awt.insets, 2,2,2,2. GridBag constraints 7. Anchor equals java.awt.gridBagConstraints.northwest. GridBag constraints 7. Gridx equals 1. GridBag constraints 7. Grid equals 0. GridBag constraints 7. Insets equals new java.awt.insets, 2,2,2,2. jpanel1.add, get jscrollPane, GridBag constraints 3. jpanel1.add, get jpanel 3, GridBag constraints 7. Return jpanel 1. This method initializes jpanel 2. At return javax.swing.jpanel. Private jpanel get jpanel 2. If jpanel 2 equals null. Java.awt.gridBagConstraints 9 equals new gridBag constraints. Java.awt.gridBagConstraints 8 equals new gridBag constraints. jpanel 2 equals new jpanel. jpanel2.setLayout, new gridBag layout. jpanel2.setBorder, javax.swing.borderFactory.createATitled null, enter text below to be decoded, javax.swing.border.titledBorder.default_justification, javax.swing.border.titledBorder.default_position, new java.awt.font, dialog, java.awt.font.plain, 11, java.awt.color.black. jpanel2.setPreferredSize, new java.awt.dimension, 135,120. GridBag constraints 8. Gridx equals 0. GridBag constraints 8. Grid equals 0. GridBag constraints 8. Weights equals 1.0. GridBag constraints 8. Weight equals 1.0. GridBag constraints 8. Fill equals java.awt.gridBagConstraints.both. GridBag constraints 8. Insets equals new java.awt.insets, 2,2,2,2. GridBag constraints 8. Anchor equals java.awt.gridBagConstraints.northwest. GridBag constraints 8. Grid height equals 1. GridBag constraints 9. Gridx equals 1. GridBag constraints 9. Grid equals 0. GridBag constraints 9. Insets equals new java.awt.insets, 2,2,2,2. Grid bag constraints 9. Anchor equals java.awt.gridbag constraints.northwest. jpanel 2. Add, get jscroll pane 1, grid bag constraints 8. jpanel 2. Add, get jpanel 4, grid bag constraints 9. Return jpanel 2. This method initializes jscroll pane. At return javax.swing.jscrollPane. Private jscrollPane get jscrollPane. If jscrollPane equals null. jscrollPane equals new jscrollPane. jscrollPane.set viewport view, get string code. jscrollPane.set horizontal scroll bar policy, javax.swing.jscrollPane.horizontal_scroll bar_never. Return jscrollPane. This method initializes jscrollPane 1. At return javax.swing.jscrollPane. Private jscrollPane get jscrollPane 1. If jscrollPane 1 equals null. jscrollPane 1 equals new jscrollPane. jscrollPane 1.set viewport view, gets decode. Return jscrollPane 1. This method initializes text encode. At return javax.swing.jtext field. Private jtext area gets encode. If text encode equals null. Text encode equals new jtext area. Text encode.set line wrap, true. Text encode.set font, new java.awt.font, courier new, java.awt.font.plain, 12. Text encode.add listener, new java.awt.event.mouse adapter. Public void mouse pressed, java.awt.event.mouse event e. If e.get modifiers, and input event.button 3_mask, equals 0, right mouse button. View.get pop-up menu, .show, e.get component, e.get x, e.get y. Return text encode. This method initializes text decode. At return javax.swing.jtext field. Private jtext area gets decode. If text decode equals null. Text decode equals new jtext area. Text decode.set line wrap, true. Text decode.set font, new java.awt.font, courier new, java.awt.font.plain, 12. Return text decode. This method initializes btnmd5hash. At return javax.swing.jbutton. Private jbutton get btnmd5 hash. If btnmd5hash equals null. btnmd5hash equals new jbutton. btnmd5 hash.set text, md5 hash. btnmd5 hash.add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Text decode.set text. Try. String result equals get encoder, .gethx string, get encoder, .gethishmt5, get encoder, .get bytes, text encode .get text. Text decode.set text, result. Catch, no such algorithm exception E1. E1.print stack trace. Return btnmd5hash. This method initializes thnr code. At return javax.swing.jbutton. Private jbutton get thnr code. If thnr code equals null. thnr code equals new jbutton. thnr code.set text, URL encode. thnr code.add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Text decode.set text. Text decode.set text, get encoder, .getter code, text encode.get text. Return thnr code. This method initializes btn base 64 encode. At return javax.swing.jbutton. Private jbutton get btn base 64 encode. If btn base 64 encode equals null. btn base 64 encode equals new J button. btn base 64 encode dot set text, base 64 encode. btn base 64 encode dot add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Text decode dot set text. Text decode dot set text, get encoder, dot get base 64 encode, text encode dot get text. Return btn base 64 encode. This method initializes btn sha1 hash. At return javax.swing.j button. Private j button get btun 1 hash. If btn sha1 hash equals null. btn sha1 hash equals new j button. btn sha1 hash dot set text, sha1 hash. btn sha1 hash dot add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Text decode dot set text. Try. String result equals get encoder, dot gethix string, get encoder, dot gethish1, get encoder, dot get bytes, text encode dot get text. Text decode dot set text, result. Catch, no such algorithm exception E1. E1.print stack trace. Return btn sha1 hash. This method initializes thnrl decode. At return javax.swing.j button. Private j button get thnrl decode. If thnrl decode equals null. Thnrl decode equals new j button. Thnrl decode dot set text, URL decode. Thnrl decode dot add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Text encode dot set text. String result equals get encoder, dot get URL decode, text decode dot get text. Text encode dot set text, result. Return thnrl decode. This method initializes btn base 64 decode. At return javax.swing.j button. Private j button get btun base 64 decode. If btn base 64 decode equals null. btn base 64 decode equals new j button. btn base 64 decode dot set text, base 64 decode. btn base 64 decode dot add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Text encode dot set text. Text encode dot set text, get encoder, dot get base 64 decode, text decode dot get text. Return btn base 64 decode. This method initializes jpanel3. At return javax.swing.jpanel. Private jpanel get jpanel3. If jpanel3 equals null. java.awt.gridLayout 6 equals new grid layout. jpanel3 equals new jpanel. jpanel3.set layout, grid layout 6. Grid layout 6.set rows, 4. Grid layout 6.set columns, 1. Grid layout 6.set vgap, 3. Grid layout 6.set gap, 3. jpanel3.add, get btnrl encode, null. jpanel3.add, get btun base 64 encode, null. jpanel3.add, get btun sha1 hash, null. jpanel3.add, get btun 5 hash, null. Return jpanel3. This method initializes jpanel4. At return javax.swing.jpanel. Private jpanel get jpanel4. If jpanel4 equals null. java.awt.gridLayout 11 equals new grid layout. jpanel4 equals new jpanel. jpanel4.set layout, grid layout 11. Grid layout 11.set rows, 2. Grid layout 11.set columns, 1. Grid layout 11.set gap, 2. Grid layout 11.set vgap, 3. jpanel 4.add, get null decode, null. jpanel 4.add, get ton base 64 decode, null. Return jpanel 4. Private encoder get encoder. If encoder equals null. Encoder equals new encoder. Return encoder. Void set view, view delegate view. This dot view equals view. At javedical index equals 0 visual constraint equals 10,10. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension. Import org.paros proxy.paros.model.model. Import org.paros proxy.paros.model.options param. Import org.paros proxy.paros.model.session. Life cycle for an extension. Init. Init model, the extension obtain the data model. Init XML. Get extension hook, workbench obtain the view of the plugin. Start. Stop. May go back to 5 depending on options or menu chosen. Destroy. Public interface extension. Public string get name. Initialize plugin during startup. This phase is carried out before all others. Public void init. Initialization of plugin after obtaining data model from core. Method should not depend on view. At param model. Public void init model, model. Public void init view, view delegate view. Public model get model. Public view delegate get view. Start the plugin e.g. if there is a running server. Public void start. Stop the plugin e.g. if there is a running server. Public void stop. Plugin cleanup, finalize etc. when program shutdown. Stop, will be called before shutdown. Public void destroy. Initialize session and options parameter if required XML node not in either files. At param session. At param options. Public void init XML, session, options param options. Public void hook, extension hook plugin hook. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension. Import org.paros proxy.paros.model.model. Import org.paros proxy.paros.model.options param. Import org.paros proxy.paros.model.session. To change the template for this generated type comment go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension adapter implements extension. Private string name equals this.get class, .get name. Private model equals null. Private view delegate view equals null. Private extension hook equals null. Public extension adapter. Public extension adapter, string name. This.name equals name. At return returns the name. Public string get name. Return name. At param name the name to set. Public void set name, string name. This.name equals name. Non-javadoc. At ccom proof secure.paros.plugin number init plugin. Public void init. Non-javadoc. At ccom proof secure.paros.plugin number init model, com proof secure.paros.model.model. Public void init model, model. This.model equals model. Public void init view, view delegate view. This.view equals view. Public void init XML, session, options param options. Non-javadoc. At ccom proof secure.paros.plugin number get plugin view, com proof secure.paros.view. Public extension hook view get extension view. Return null. Non-javadoc. At ccom proof secure.paros.plugin number init menu. Public extension hook menu get extension menu. Return null. Public void start. Public void stop. Public void destroy. Public view delegate get view. Return view. Public model get model. Return model. Public void hook, extension hook extension hook. This dot extension hook equals extension hook. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension.auto update. Import java.awt.event queue. Import java.io.file. Import java.io.file output stream. Import java.io.io exception. Import java.lang.reflect.invocation target exception. Import java.utilityregex.matcher. Import java.utilityregex.pattern. Import javax.swing.jmenutum. Import javax.swing.joptionpane. Import org.apache.commons.client.http exception. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri exception. Import org.parosproxy.paros.constant. Import org.parosproxy.paros.extension.extension adapter. Import org.parosproxy.paros.extension.extension hook. Import org.parosproxy.paros.extension.extension hook menu. Import org.parosproxy.paros.network.http message. Import org.parosproxy.paros.network.http sender. Import org.parosproxy.paros.network.http status code. Import org.parosproxy.paros.view.wait message dialog. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension auto update extends extension adapter. Private jmenutum kek update equals null. Private extension hook menu extension menu equals null. Private static final string sf_paros_files equals http sourceforge.net project show files.php, group_id equals 84378. Private http sender equals null. Private patternOst version equals pattern.compile, http pair downloads //.sourceforge //.net BOANCLOUD //d plus sign, //dot, //d plus sign, //dot, //d plus sign, win //dot bin, pattern.multiline. Private patternOst version Windows equals pattern.compile, paros, //d plus sign, //dot, //d plus sign, //dot, //d plus sign, win //dot det, pattern.multiline. Private patternOst version Linux equals pattern.compile, paros, //d plus sign, //dot, //d plus sign, //dot, //d plus sign, Unix // .zip, pattern.multiline. String newest version aim equals null. Private boolean manual kek started equals false. Private final string header equals post http pair downloads.sourceforge.netreader.php http 1.1/r/n plus host pair downloads.sourceforge.net /r/n plus user agent Mozilla 4.0 compatible MSIE 6.0 Windows NT 5.0 /r/n plus pragma no cache /r/n plus content type applications www formerly coded /r/n plus /r/n Private string get body, string mirror, string file name. String body equals mirror plus end path equals paros plus file name. Return body. Private wait message dialog wait dialog equals null. Private string mirror list equals Kent, Henet, Puzzle, NCHC, Optusnet, JST, OSTN. Public extension auto update. Super. Initialize. This method initializes this. At return void. Private void initialize. This dot set name, extension auto update. This method initializes menutum encoder. At return javax.swing.jmenutum. Private jmenutum get menutum kek update. If menutum kek update equals null. Menutum kek update equals new jmenutum. Menutum kek update dot set text, check for updates. If constant dot is Windows, and constant dot is Linux. Menutum kek update dot set enabled, false. Menutum kek update dot add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Thread t equals new thread, new runnable. Public void run. Manual kek started equals true. Newest version name equals get newest version name. If wait dialog equals null. Wait dialog dot hide. Wait dialog equals null. Event queue dot invoke later, new runnable. Public void run. If newest version name equals null. Get view dot show message dialog, there is no new update available. Paros may periodically check for update. Else if newest version name dot equals get view dot show warning dialog, error encountered. Please check manually for new updates. Else int result equals get view dot show confirm dialog, there is a newer version of Paros, plus newest version name dot replace all, // dot dat, plus / n proceed to download. If result equals jobtion pane dot ok underscore option. Wait dialog equals get view dot get wait a message dialog, download in progress. Thread t equals new thread, new runnable. Public void run. Extension auto update dot this dot download, false. T dot start. Wait dialog dot show. Wait dialog equals get view dot get wait a message dialog, checking if newer version exists. T dot start. Wait dialog dot show. Return menutum kek update. Public void start. If constant dot is Windows. Return. Check 1 in 30 cases to avoid too frequent check. If get random 30 equals 1. Return. Thread t equals new thread, new runnable. Public void run. Newest version name equals get newest version name. If newest version name equals null newest version name dot length equals 0. Return. Else extension auto update dot this dot download, true. T dot start. Public void hook, extension hook. Super dot hook, extension hook. If get view equals null. Extension hook dot get hook menu dot add tools menu item, get menutum kek update. Public void download, final boolean silent. If newest version name equals null. Return. HTTP message equals new HTTP message. Try. Message request header. Message request body, get body, mirror list get random, mirror list dot length, newest version name. Get sender, dot send and receive, message true. If message get response header, dot get status code, equals HTTP status code dot ok. Throw new IO exception. If silent end manual kek started. Return. File equals null. If constant dot is Windows. File equals new file, parosnua.exe. Else if, constant.is Linux. File equals new file, parosnua.zip. File output stream os equals new file output stream, file. os.write, message get response body, .get bytes. os.close. Try. Final file update file equals file. Event queue.invoke and wait, new runnable. Public void run. If, wait dialog, equals null. Wait dialog.hide. If, silent. String s equals a newer version has been downloaded. It will be installed the / next time paros is started. If, constant.is Linux. S equals s plus note, use start server.sh to run paros. Get view, .show message dialog, s. Else. String s equals a newer version is available. Install the new version / next time paros is started. If, constant.is Linux. S equals s plus note, use start server.sh to run paros. Int result equals get view, .show confirm dialog, s. If, result, equals joption pane.ok _option. Update file.delete. Catch, exception e. Catch, IO exception e. Try. Event queue.invoke and wait, new runnable. Public void run. If, wait dialog, equals null. Wait dialog.hide. If, silent. Get view, .show warning dialog, error encountered. Please download new updates manually. Catch, exception E1. If, wait dialog, equals null. Wait dialog.hide. Finally. HTTP sender.shutdown. HTTP sender equals null. Private string get newest version name. String new version name equals null. HTTP message equals null. String res body equals null. Try. Message equals new HTTP message, new URI, sf_paros_files, true. Get sender, .send and receive, message true. If, message get response a header, .get status code, equals http status code.ok. Throw new IO exception. Res body equals message get response body, .tossed ring. Matcher equals null. If, constant.is Windows. Matcher equals patternlist version Windows.matcher, res body. Else. Matcher equals patternlist version Linux.matcher, res body. If, matcher.find. Int var_major equals integer.parseInt, matcher.group, 1. Int var_minor equals integer.parseInt, matcher.group, 2. Int var_release equals integer.parseInt, matcher.group, 3. Long version equals 10 million var_major plus 10,000 var_minor plus var_release. If, version constant.version_tag. New version name equals matcher.group, 0. Catch, exception e. New version name equals. Finally. HTTP sender.shutdown. HTTP sender equals null. Return new version name. Private HTTP sender get sender. If, HTTP sender equals null. HTTP sender equals new HTTP sender, get model, .get options param, .get connection param, true. Return HTTP sender. Private int get random, int max. Int result equals, int, max math.random. Return result. Package org.parosproxy.paros.extension.edit. Import javax.swing.jframe. Import javax.swing.jmenutum. Import javax.swing.text.jText component. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension adapter. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension hook. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension hook view. Import org.paros proxy.paros.view.find dialog. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension edit extends extension adapter. Private find dialog equals null. Private jmenutum menu find equals null. Private pop-up find menu equals null. Public extension edit. Super. Initialize. At param name. Public extension edit, string name. Super, name. This method initializes this. At return void. Private void initialize. This dot set name, extension edit. Public void hook, extension hook. Super dot hook, extension hook. If, get view, equals null. Extension hook dot gethook menu, dot add edit menu item, get menufind. Extension hook dot gethook menu, dot add pop-up menutum, get pop-up menufind. Private void show find dialog, frame, text component last invoker. If, find dialog equals null find dialog dot get parent, equals frame. Find dialog equals new find dialog, frame, false. Find dialog dot set last invoker. Find dialog dot set visible, true. This method initializes menu find. At return javax.swing.jmenutum. Private jmenutum get menufind. If, menu find equals null. Menu find equals new jmenutum. Menu find dot set text, find. Menu find dot set accelerator, javax.swing.keystroke.getEstroke, java.awt.event.kevent.vk_f, java.awt.event.control_mask, false. Menu find.add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Show find dialog, get view, get mainframe, null. Return menu find. This method initializes pop-up menufind. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension pop-up menu. Private pop-up find menu get pop-up menufind. If, pop-up find menu equals null. Pop-up find menu equals new pop-up find menu. Pop-up find menu dot set text, find. Pop-up find menu dot add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Show find dialog, pop-up find menu dot get parent frame, pop-up find menu dot get last invoker. Return pop-up find menu. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension.encoder. Import javax.swing.jmenutum. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension adapter. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension hook. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension hook menu. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension encoder extends extension adapter. Private encoder dialog equals null, at javdicl index equals 0 visual constraint equals 63,19. Private jmenutum encoder equals null. Private extension hook menu equals null. Public extension encoder. Super. Initialize. This method initializes this. At return void. Private void initialize. This dot set name, extension encoder. This method initializes encoder dialog. At return com proof secure .paros .extension .encoder dialog. Private encoder dialog getter encoder dialog. If encoder dialog equals null. Encoder dialog equals new encoder dialog, get view, get mainframe, false. Encoder dialog set view, get view. Encoder dialog set size, 480, 360. Return encoder dialog. This method initializes menutum encoder. At return javax.swing.jmenutum. Private jmenutum get menutum encoder. If menutum encoder equals null. Menutum encoder equals new jmenutum. Menutum encoder set text, encoder hash. Menutum encoder add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Getter encoder dialog, set visible, true. Return menutum encoder. Public void hook, extension hook. Super.hook, extension hook. If get view equals null. Extension hook get hook menu, add tools menu item, get menutum encoder. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension.filter. Import javax.swing.jmenutum. Import org.paros proxy.paros.core.proxy.proxy listener. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension.extension adapter. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension.extension hook. Import org.paros proxy.paros.extension.view delegate. Import org.paros proxy.paros.network.http message. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension filter extends extension adapter implements proxy listener, runnable. Private jmenutum menutools filter equals null. Private filter factory equals new filter factory. Private boolean is stop equals false. Public extension filter. Super. Public void init. Filter factory.loadal filter. Filter equals null. 4. Int I equals 0, I filter factory.getL filter, size, I++. Filter equals, filter factory.getL filter, get, I. Try. Filter.init. Catch, exception e. Thread t equals new thread, this. T.set daemon, true. T.start. Public void init view, view delegate view. Super.init view, view. Filter equals null. 4. Int I equals 0, I filter factory.getL filter, size, I++. Filter equals, filter factory.getL filter, get, I. Try. Filter.init view, view. Catch, exception e. This method initializes menutools filter. At return javax.swing.jmenutum. Private jmenutum get menutools filter. If menutools filter equals null. Menutools filter equals new jmenutum. Menutools filter.set text, filter. Menutools filter.add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Filter dialog equals new filter dialog, get view, get mainframe. Dialog.setl filters, filter factory.getL filter. Dialog.show dialog, false. Return menutools filter. Public void hook, extension hook. If get view equals null. Extension hook.gethook menu, .add tools menu item, get menu tools filter. Extension hook.add proxy listener, this. Non-Javadoc. At ccom proof secure.paros.core.proxy listener number on prequest send, com proof secure.paros.network.http message. Public void on prequest send, http message. Filter equals null. 4. Int I equals 0, I filter factory.getl filter, .size, I++. Filter equals, filter factory.getl filter, .get, I. Try. If, filter.is enabled. Filter.on prequest send, http message. Catch, exception e. Non-Javadoc. At ccom proof secure.paros.core.proxy listener number on pre-sponsor receive, com proof secure.paros.network.http message. Public void on pre-sponsor receive, http message. Filter equals null. 4. Int I equals 0, I filter factory.getl filter, .size, I++. Filter equals, filter factory.getl filter, .get, I. Try. If, filter.is enabled. Filter.on pre-sponsor receive, http message. Catch, exception e. Destroy every filter during extension destroy. Public void destroy. Is stop equals true. Filter equals null. 4. Int I equals 0, I filter factory.getl filter, .size, I++. Filter equals, filter factory.getl filter, .get, I. Try. Filter.destroy. Catch, exception e. Public void run. Filter equals null. While, is stop. Try. Thread.sleep, 5000. Catch, interrupted exception e1. 4. Int I equals 0, I filter factory.getl filter, .size, I++. Filter equals, filter factory.getl filter, .get, I. Try. If, filter.is enabled. Filter.timer. Catch, exception e. Package org.parosproxy.paros.extension.history. Import java.awt.eventqueue. Import java.sql.sql exception. Import java.utility-list. Import java.utility-regex.matcher. Import java.utility-regex.pattern. Import javax.swing.jcheckbox menutum. Import javax.swing.joptionpane. Import org.parosproxy.paros.control.control. Import org.parosproxy.paros.control.proxy. Import org.parosproxy.paros.core.proxy.cache processing item. Import org.parosproxy.paros.extension.extension adapter. Import org.parosproxy.paros.extension.extension hook. Import org.parosproxy.paros.extension.extension hook view. Import org.parosproxy.paros.extension.session changed listener. Import org.parosproxy.paros.model.history list. Import org.parosproxy.paros.model.history reference. Import org.parosproxy.paros.model.session. Import org.parosproxy.paros.network.http header. Import org.parosproxy.paros.network.http message. Import org.parosproxy.paros.network.http request header. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension history extends extension adapter implements session changed listener. Private static final int filter underscore none equals 0. Private static final int filter underscore request equals 1. Private static final int filter underscore response equals 2. Private log panel equals null, at javdecl index equals 0 visual constraint equals 161,134. Private proxy listener log proxy listener equals null. Private history list equals null. Private string filter equals. Private embedded browser equals null. Private static browser dialog equals null. Private history filter dialog equals null. Private j checkbox menutum menu filterister request equals null, at javdecl index equals 0 visual constraint equals 68,100. Private j checkbox menutum menu filterister response equals null. Private int state filter equals filter underscore none. Private pop-up menu delete history pop-up menu delete history equals null. Private pop-up menu purge history pop-up menu purge history equals null. Private pop-up menu resend equals null. Private manual request editor resend dialog equals null. Private pop-up menu export a message equals null. Private pop-up menu export a message 2 equals null. Private pop-up menu export response equals null. Private pop-up menu export response 2 equals null. Private pop-up menu embedded browser equals null. Private pop-up menu embedded browser 2 equals null. Private pop-up menu tag equals null. Public extension history. Super. Initialize. At param name. Public extension history, string name. Super, name. This method initializes this. At return void. Private void initialize. This dot set name, extension history. This method initializes log panel. At return proof secure.paros.extension.history.log panel. Log panel get log panel. If log panel equals null. Log panel equals new log panel. Log panel dot set name, history. Log panel dot set extension, this. Return log panel. Public void hook, extension hook. Super dot hook, extension hook. Extension hook dot add session listener, this. Extension hook dot add proxy listener, get proxy listener log. If get view equals null. Extension hook view PV equals extension hook dot get hook view. PV dot add status panel, get log panel. PV dot add work panel, get request panel. PV dot add work panel, get response panel. Get log panel, dot set display panel, get view, dot get request panel, get view, dot get response panel. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add view menutum, get pop-up menu embedded browser 2. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add view menutum, extension hook dot get hook menu, dot get menu separator. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add view menutum, get menu filterister request. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add view menutum, get menu filterister response. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add pop-up menutum, get pop-up menu resend. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add pop-up menutum, get pop-up menu tag. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add pop-up menutum, get pop-up menu embedded browser. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add pop-up menutum, get pop-up menu export a message. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add pop-up menutum, get pop-up menu export response. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add pop-up menutum, get pop-up menu delete history. Extension hook dot get hook menu, dot add pop-up menutum, get pop-up menu purge history. Same as pop-up menu export but for file menu. Extension hook.gethuk menu.advali minutum, get pop-up menu export a message to. Extension hook.gethuk menu.advali minutum, get pop-up menu export response to. If, isenable for native platform. Preload for faster loading. Get browser dialog. Public void session changed, final session. If, event queue.is dispatch thread. Session changed event handler, session. Else. Try. Event queue.invoke and wait, new runnable. Public void run. Session changed event handler, session. Catch, exception e. Private void session changed event handler, session. Get history list, .clear. Get log panel, .get list log, .set model, get history list. Get view, .get request panel, .set message, true. Get view, .get response panel, .set message, false. Try. List equals get model, .get db, .getable history, .get history list, session.get sessioned, history reference .type _ manual. Build history, get history list. Catch, SQL exception e. Private proxy listener log get proxy listener log. If, proxy listener equals null. Proxy listener equals new proxy listener log, get model, get view, get history list. Return proxy listener. Public history list get history list. If, history list equals null. History list equals new history list. Return history list. Private void search history, string filter, boolean is request. Session equals get model, .get syscion. Synchronized, history list. Try. List equals get model, .get db, .getable history, .get history list, session.get sessioned, history reference .type _ manual, filter, is request. Build history, get history list. Catch, SQL exception e. Private void build history list, list db list. History reference history ref equals null. Synchronized, history list. History list.clear. 4, int I equals 0, idb list.size, I++. Int history id equals, integer, db list.get, int value. Try. History ref equals new history reference, history id. History list.add element, history ref. Catch, exception e. This method initializes filter dialog. At return proof secure.paros.extension.history.search dialog. Private history filter dialog get filter dialog. If, filter dialog equals null. Filter dialog equals new history filter dialog, get view, .get mainframe, true. Return filter dialog. This method initializes menu filterister request. At return javax.swing.j minutum. Private j checkbox minutum get menu filterister request. If, menu filterister request equals null. Menu filterister request equals new j checkbox minutum. Menu filterister request.set text, filter history by request. Menu filterister request.add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Int result equals show filter dialog, true. Switch, result. Case -1, menu filterister request.set selected, false. Menu filterister response.set selected, false. State filter equals filter _ none. Break. Case 0, menu filterister request.set selected, false. Menu filterister response.set selected, false. If, state filter equals filter _ request. Menu filterister request.set selected, true. Else if, state filter equals filter underscore response. Menu filterister response dot set selected, true. Break. Case 1, menu filterister request dot set selected, true. Menu filterister response dot set selected, false. State filter equals filter underscore request. Break. Return menu filterister request. Private int show filter dialog, boolean is request. History filter dialog equals get filter dialog. Dialog dot set modal, true. Int exit equals dialog dot show dialog. Int result equals 0, cancel, state unchanged. If exit equals jobtion pane dot ok underscore option. Filter equals dialog dot get pattern. Get proxy listener log dot set filter, filter. Search history, filter, is request. Result equals 1, applied. Else if exit equals jobtion pane dot no underscore option. Filter equals get proxy listener log dot set filter, filter. Search history, filter, is request. Result equals -1, reset. Return result. This method initializes menu filterister response. At return javax.swing.jmenutum. Private j checkbox menutum get menu filterister response. If menu filterister response equals null. Menu filterister response equals new j checkbox menutum. Menu filterister response dot set text, filter history by response. Menu filterister response dot add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. Int result equals show filter dialog, false. Switch, result. Case -1, menu filterister request dot set selected, false. Menu filterister response dot set selected, false. State filter equals filter underscore none. Break. Case 0, menu filterister request dot set selected, false. Menu filterister response dot set selected, false. If state filter equals filter underscore request. Menu filterister request dot set selected, true. Else if state filter equals filter underscore response. Menu filterister response dot set selected, true. Break. Case 1, menu filterister request dot set selected, false. Menu filterister response dot set selected, true. State filter equals filter underscore response. Break. Return menu filterister response. This method initializes pop-up menudleta history. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu delete history. Private pop-up menu delete history get pop-up menudleta history. If pop-up menudleta history equals null. Pop-up menudleta history equals new pop-up menu delete history. Pop-up menudleta history.set extension, this. Return pop-up menudleta history. This method initializes pop-up menu purge history. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu purge history. Private pop-up menu purge history get pop-up menu purge history. If pop-up menu purge history equals null. Pop-up menu purge history equals new pop-up menu purge history. Pop-up menu purge history.set extension, this. Return pop-up menu purge history. This method initializes pop-up menu resend. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu resend. Private pop-up menu resend get pop-up menu resend. If pop-up menu resend equals null. Pop-up menu resend equals new pop-up menu resend. Pop-up menu resend.set extension, this. Return pop-up menu resend. This method initializes resend dialog. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.resend dialog. Manual request editor dialog get resend dialog. If Recent dialog equals null. Recent dialog equals new manual request editor dialog, get view, get mainframe, false, false, this. Recent dialog set size, 500, 600. Recent dialog set title, resend. Return recent dialog. This method initializes pop-up menu export. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu export. Private pop-up menu export message get pop-up menu export a message. If pop-up menu export a message equals null. Pop-up menu export a message equals new pop-up menu export message. Pop-up menu export a message set extension, this. Return pop-up menu export a message. This method initializes pop-up menu export 1. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu export. Private pop-up menu export message get pop-up menu export a message 2. If pop-up menu export a message 2 equals null. Pop-up menu export a message 2 equals new pop-up menu export message. Pop-up menu export a message 2. Set extension, this. Return pop-up menu export a message 2. This method initializes pop-up menu export response. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu export response. Private pop-up menu export response get pop-up menu export response. If pop-up menu export response equals null. Pop-up menu export response equals new pop-up menu export response. Pop-up menu export response. Set extension, this. Return pop-up menu export response. This method initializes pop-up menu export response 2. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu export response. Private pop-up menu export response get pop-up menu export response 2. If pop-up menu export response 2 equals null. Pop-up menu export response 2 equals new pop-up menu export response. Pop-up menu export response 2. Set extension, this. Return pop-up menu export response 2. This method initializes pop-up menu emitted browser. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu embedded browser. Private pop-up menu embedded browser get pop-up menu emitted browser. If pop-up menu emitted browser equals null. Pop-up menu emitted browser equals new pop-up menu embedded browser. Pop-up menu emitted browser. Set extension, this. Return pop-up menu emitted browser. This method initializes pop-up menu emitted browser 2. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.popup menu embedded browser. Private pop-up menu embedded browser get pop-up menu emitted browser 2. If pop-up menu emitted browser 2 equals null. Pop-up menu emitted browser 2 equals new pop-up menu embedded browser. Pop-up menu emitted browser 2. Set extension, this. Return pop-up menu emitted browser 2. Private pop-up menu tag get pop-up menu tag. If pop-up menu tag equals null. Pop-up menu tag equals new pop-up menu tag. Pop-up menu tag. Set extension, this. Return pop-up menu tag. Boolean browser display, history reference ref, HTTP message. Boolean is show equals false. String content type equals message get response a header, get header, HTTP header. Content underscore type. If content type equals null. If content type. Index of text.ml equals 0. Content type. Index of text plain equals 0. Is show equals true. Else if message get response a header, is image. Is show equals true. Else if content type. Index of application equals 0. Is show equals true. If is show. Return is show. Try. If get browser dialog is visible. Get browser dialog set visible true. Browser equals get browser dialog get empted browser. Browser.stop. Browser.set visible, true. Cache processing item equals new cache processing item, ref, message. Proxy equals control.get proxy. Proxy.seasonable kket processing, true. Proxy.add cache processing list, item. Get browser dialog, .ctrl message get request header, .get URI, .toString. If, message get request header, .get method, .equal signer recase, http request header .post. Browser.set URL, new java.net .url, message get request header, .get URI, .toString, message get request body, .toString. Else. Browser.set URL, new java.net .url, message get request header, .get URI, .toString. Catch, exception E. Return is show. This method initializes browser dialog. At return org.paros proxy.paros.extension.history.browser dialog. Browser dialog get browser dialog. If, browser dialog equals null. Browser dialog equals new browser dialog, get view, .get mainframe, false. Return browser dialog. Private static pattern windows equals pattern.compile, window, pattern.case underscore insensitive. Private static pattern Linux equals pattern.compile, Linux, pattern.case underscore insensitive. Static boolean isonable formative at platform. String os underscore name equals system.get property, os.name. Matcher equals pattern windows.matcher, os underscore name. If, matcher.find. Return true. Return false. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension. Import java.utility vector. Import org.paros proxy.paros.common.abstract param. Import org.paros proxy.paros.core.proxy.proxy listener. Import org.paros proxy.paros.model.model. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension hook. Private extension hook menu equals new extension hook menu. Private extension hook view equals new extension hook view. Private model equals null. Private vector options listener list equals new vector. Private vector proxy listener list equals new vector. Private vector session listener list equals new vector. Private vector options param set list equals new vector. Private view delegate view equals null. Private command line argument arg equals new command line argument 0. Public extension hook, model, view delegate view. This dot view equals view. This dot model equals model. Public void add options changed listener, options changed listener. Options listener list dot add, listener. Public void add options param set, abstract param set. Options param set list dot add, param set. Public void add proxy listener listener. Proxy listener list dot add, listener. Public void add session listener, session changed listener. Session listener list dot add, listener. Public void add command line argument arg. This dot arg equals arg. At return returns the hook menu. Public extension hook menu gethook menu. Return hook menu. At return returns the hook view. Public extension hook view gethook view. Return hook view. At return returns the model. Public model get model. Return model. At return returns the options listener list. Public vector get options changed listener list. Return options listener list. Public vector get options param set list. Return options param set list. At return returns the proxy listener list. Public vector get proxy listener list. Return proxy listener list. At return returns the session listener list. Public vector get session listener list. Return session listener list. At return returns the view. Public view delegate get view. Return view. Public command line argument get command line argument. Return arg. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension. Import java.utility list. Import java.utility vector. Import javax.swing.jmenu. Import javax.swing.jmenudim. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension hook menu. Public static final jmenudim menu underscore separator equals new jmenudim. Public static final extension pop-up menu pop-up underscore menu underscore separator equals new extension pop-up menu. Private vector new menu list equals new vector. Private vector fill menudim list equals new vector. Private vector edit menu item list equals new vector. Private vector view menudim list equals new vector. Private vector analyze menudim list equals new vector. Private vector tools menu item list equals new vector. Private vector pop-up menu list equals new vector. List get new menus. Return new menu list. List get file. Return fill menudim list. List get edit. Return edit menu item list. List get view. Return view menudim list. List get analyze. Return analyze menudim list. List get tools. Return tools menu item list. Get the plugin pop-up menu used for the whole workbench. At return. List get pop-up menus. Return pop-up menu list. Public void add vali menudim, jmenudim menu item. Get file, .add, menu item. Public void add edit menu item, jmenudim menu item. Get edit, .add, menu item. Public void add view menudim, jmenudim menu item. Get view, .add, menu item. Public void add analyze menudim, jmenudim menu item. Get analyze, .add, menu item. Public void add tools menu item, jmenudim menu item. Get tools, .add, menu item. Public void add new menu, jmenu menu. Get new menus, .add, menu. Add a pop-up menu item used for the whole workbench. Conditions can be set in plugin menu. When the pop-up menu can be used. At param menu item. Public void add pop-up menudim, extension pop-up menu menu item. Get pop-up menus, .add, menu item. Public jmenudim get menu separator. Return menu underscore separator. Public extension pop-up menu get pop-up menu separator. Return pop-up underscore menu underscore separator. Package org.paros proxy.paros.extension. Import java.utility list. Import java.utility vector. Import org.paros proxy.paros.view.abstract param panel. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class extension hook view. Private vector work panelist equals new vector. Private vector status panelist equals new vector. Private vector select panelist equals new vector. Private vector session panelist equals new vector. Private vector option panelist equals new vector. Public extension hook view. Public void add work panel, abstract panel panel. Work panelist.add, panel. Public void add select panel, abstract panel panel. Select panelist.add, panel. Public void add status panel, abstract panel panel. Status panelist.add, panel. Public void add session panel, abstract panel. Session panelist.add, panel. Public void add option panel, abstract param panel. Option panelist.add, panel. List get work panel. Return work panelist. List get select panel. Return select panelist. List get status panel. Return status panelist. List get session panel. Return session panelist. List get options panel. Return option panelist.